I just say fuck my life way too much. Your other catchphrases, I'm sorry, but you're not sorry at all.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Daily Dog Walk. And thank you so much for listening. I want to take a moment just to acknowledge all the messages that I've had, and for those of you that have been listening. And I just want to say I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and taking the time to message me, because it's been hard. It's been really hard revisiting this part of my life. But it's, I can only do it really with the support of everybody around me. And it's the whole point of actually this podcast is that, we're stronger together. Yeah. And, to highlight that, we all going through, we've all gone through things. And we're not alone in dealing with those things. So this episode is really about what I want to touch about my race, really. Um, Being mixed and how that was for me. I grew up feeling like I didn't belong anywhere because I was too mixed, to be black, and I was too different to be embraced by my own family, and that was really hard to sit with, just as a young child, knowing that I was being judged just on that before I even opened my mouth, before I did anything. And that shapes the way you see yourself. It has to, and how you behave. My first experiences with people like that I thought were like me, and I thought they were, um, because my family said I was black, and I went to America, and these black people, and yeah, I was a little bit lighter. I still thought they were like me, and it didn't take very long to realise that that wasn't the case, and that there were still prejudices, even with those people. Um, I wasn't accepted at all. But this was from a very young age. From as soon as I went to America, I was 5, 6. Um, if anything, you know, I had, when I was in America, it was the black community that I had a lot of racism from, and I'm going to call it racism, because racism is racism. When you treat somebody different for the color of their skin, that's racism, right? Prejudice, right? So, and I was treated like I wasn't the same as them, like I wasn't, you know, and it was obvious, and they would say things. Um, I'm not black enough. I'm not really black. Those are the kind of things I used to get told all the time. I'm too light. You're not really black because you're too light. Because you're mixed. Um, it was just a conversation piece everywhere, not just with white people. It was what in America, it was black people that couldn't accept me for who I was. And that was in my family as well. And at the time, I didn't realize that I was too young to really realize that wasn't my dad. Like I didn't, even though I just met him in the car, I didn't know what a mum and dad was. I literally had to learn that concept on the go. I had grandparents. I just thought that was normal. I just thought these, I don't know, I didn't know the construct of a family. I didn't understand that. I had to grow up understanding that by watching others and others' family units. And then I realized as I got older how unnormal my situation actually was, you know, because I had to learn this as I was growing up. Oh, so you're meant to have a mum and dad from day one. Oh, I didn't have that. I've got grandparents. Okay, I didn't know that. My nan had to tell me what a mother was because I didn't know when I was asked to call her mum, I didn't know what that meant. You understand? So I'm dealing with that as a 5-year old, a 4 or 5-year old. I'm also having to then deal with my identity as a black person, as a mixed race person in a predominantly black, neighbourhood, or black culture. So when I came back to England, when I was 7, 8, when I came back to England, I was greeted by my auntie. She was white. and my family are whites, and again, I felt the difference. I felt that I was different to them, and I felt that they were treating me different. I mean, it didn't help that my uncle was young, and like, when I say young, you'd think he was like a 12-year-old boy. He wasn't. He was probably in his early 20s, and he was a complete and utter knobhead who would, literally, talk to me, like try and wipe things off. He was just a typical idiot. And he, it was, I wouldn't even call it racism. It was like light banter, but it was just like idiotic, not how you treat a child. Um, like, look, look, Securia, you look like this, showing me gollywogs. Do you know what? It was just, and that was in my own house. That was in my own house. I was having to deal with this banter all the time, but I wouldn't even class that as bullying because he was just an idiot. And I had to deal with my mum, which was proper bullying, and my mum bullied me and punched me all the time. Having to deal with that slight banter was nothing compared to my mum's aggression. But that's still what I had to deal with on a day-to-day basis in my own home. So yeah, I felt different all the time, everywhere I went growing up. And then I would get, but I smiled. I smiled through it all. I masked how I was really feeling because no one around me cared how I really felt because they were the ones who were treating me like it. My friends were my friends. They didn't care about my race. They didn't give two shits. They did not give two shits. Um, I didn't feel, what the stigma that my family thought they had, if that makes sense. Like no one really seemed to really give a shit apart from my family. My nan would say to me, "You've got to do better because you're black." I'm actually mixed, but to them I was just black. My mum's best friend's children are my cousins. Okay, even to this day, my mum's best friend's sister, her children are my cousins to this day. I mentioned previously about a grandma who had a baby picture of me. That was my mum's best friend's mother. They were my surrogate family. They loved me no matter what. So I did have that. I did have love. Okay, they're a slightly dysfunctional family, but I still love them. And you know, so even though I do have people that I can call upon as who love me. They're not really, I'm not their responsibility really. And so it doesn't matter that I've got them. I still feel hurt because of the people that I should have had, the way they treated me, and the way So it's that's what shaped me. That's what shaped this deep sadness in my heart because I experienced all of that. Okay, they didn't just think it; they made me feel it, and they did a really good job of enforcing those feelings throughout my whole fucking life. Right, and that's not something my surrogate family can fix. Unfortunately, it isn't. So, you know, not being accepted by the black community for not being black enough, not being accepted by my family for not just for being me and not being a bit white. Is it not being white, just being Linda's daughter? I don't know. Just not being accepted fully. And my mum treating me the way she did just made me feel like I was abandoned by the whole world. There is where my abandonment issues lie. I feel like everyone just wants to reject me and they want to find a reason to do it, whether it's a label that they've given me, a judgment that they've given me on my behavior or my expectations. But that, stuck with me. And that shaped me to being the nice girl. The people pleaser, you know, because I always felt that, okay, if they know me, if they get to know me, they realize that I'm really nice and, it doesn't matter that I'm black. I did the same thing with my family. I thought that, okay, if I get a job and if I work really hard, so I thought if I do well, they'll love me, they'll love me, they'll love me. Keep trying to get their love so that they can see past me, you know? how can, you know, humans are shitty. They just find any reason to shirk their fucking responsibilities and just be assholes. But that is where my people pleasing came from. That's what started me off. So I realised that my people pleasing was just a mask. It wasn't real. It was just a way to, you know, get people's acceptance. You know, because I thought if I was really good, you know, they would accept me. It's not. It wasn't real. You know, it helped me survive, but it's not who I am. So I don't do that shit anymore. You know, menopause helps with that as well. You know, because I'm angry all the time. So I don't people please. But it's that realisation that, you know, that's what it made me. It made me a bit of a pushover.
The black people in the UK don't care. Like this race thing, this black and white thing is in America.
Yeah.
So it's not really over here.
That I know that.
Yeah. Have you heard this thing at the moment about black fatigue?
What is that then?
Black fatigue is basically people are getting sick of the ratchets. So black people are more racist. So I'll give you an example. So when I went to America, and I was in the car with my auntie, and when I was in the car with my auntie, there was literally, she turned around and she goes, look at those white people. She goes, they think if they look at us, they're going to turn black. And I looked across to see what she was looking at, expecting to see these white people sitting in their cars, giving us the dirtiest and filthiest of looks. And it was just a family, and they weren't even looking at us. Like, if the guy did turn and look, it was just, you know, when you're sitting in traffic and you look.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was nothing like that at all. That is the mentality of most black people in America. It's black people this, white people that. Do you know what I mean? All they're talking about is white people. White people, you know, if girls have what braids in their hair, you know, it's appropriation. It's a whole class system, okay? And I used to find this when I lived in America as well. I lived it.
So my only experience really is exactly what you've said, just in a different way. So every so often I come across a flurry of posts on my For You page that are black women in America, and it's like, this post's for white women only. White women, why are you this? White women, why are you that? And I'm like, I have never known one black girl in the whole of the UK speak like that. I'm sure people do, but in my experience, it's not the norm for it to be like an issue, like you are saying that it is. And again, with the appropriation stuff, there was loads of that. And like, I never see it reversed. And I'm obviously a white girl, so the algorithm's going to probably more favour white girls, but I never see really, I don't think I've ever seen one that's like, hey, this video's for black girls and black girls only. Why are you all doing this? Why are you doing, what's this about? Why do you think this? Why? Do you know what I mean?
You're right, because in America, it took me, when I lived in America, it really was. I was brought up like black people, white people. It was, you know, that's how we talked. And then when I came over to England, it was really difficult because like I had to change the way I spoke because it was starting to, it was causing people offense because I kept saying white people this, and that, you know, for white people, what is that for white people? And it was like
a comment that doesn't even need to be a comment, just always getting put in, just make
you know, and I'm a 7-year-old kid, do you know what I mean? Giving it white people this and black people that, and is that for black people? Is that for white people? And I live in a white, you know, predominantly white neighborhood, and it was like, why are you saying that? Like, it was odd, and then I started to feel it was odd as I started getting
because no one else talks like that.
No one else talks like that. It's just people. It's for people, not for white, not for black. I feel that I've lived it. I know for a fact that they're putting these prejudices in themselves, right? They are more racist than, well, I'm not saying more racist. I think there's a bit of everything from everyone. But I never felt prejudice from white people. I've always felt more prejudice from black people. Do you know what I mean? So everything that they're saying that white people are this and white people are persecuting them. Okay. I don't see any of that. That's not my experience. My experience is black people. Black people are the ones that, you know, exclude me from their community because I'm not black enough, because my mum's white You know, I can't possibly. Do you know? And it's that kind of stupid ignorance that is one of the reasons why I love following Real Wolf Hat Facts. Right. So
I'm gonna find him. I'll have a look later.
yeah, no, his name's Real Wolf Hat Facts, and I stumbled upon him on TikTok a couple of years ago, and he used to like some of the things he used to say. I used to be like, yeah, because I came back from America. Last time I went to America was a long time ago, but when I came back and people were asking me about did I have a good time, I was like, well, I did. It was great to see my brother, but you know, it was a bit weird because of the culture. It was a bit of a culture shock to me because they are so like the first thing my brother says to me is, is your boyfriend white or black? And when I say he's white, they have to make comments about the color of my children. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck has that got to do with anything? Do you know what I mean? So to them, it feels like it's really important to them. Do you know what I mean? And then so I've come away from that thinking.
I get that because that's what I see on the very few posts that I do see that are about black people or white people. That's the sort of thing that I see.
Yeah, I'm like, why is the color of the skin more important? And I've come back to talking to my friends about this and say, I would never live there because of the black and white race divide. And I've been saying that for years. I've said that to you for years. So I just can't do it. It's just too much hard work.
So my experience around race is that where I grew up, I didn't go to like infants, and I just went to infants and junior school with white kids. There was no black kids in our area. There wasn't. I grew up in a small village on, do you know what I mean, in like North Lincolnshire, like really tiny school, like 60 kids.
Yeah.
And then when I went to senior school, there was a girl that would be starting, and my mum worked with her mum as a teacher they worked at the same school, and she's like, oh, you're going to be in the same farm and that. And then she told me that she said, oh, her mum's white but her dad's black African American and he's from Zimbabwe. So and yeah, blah blah blah. So obviously on my first day of school I met this, like I'd already met her I think, so, and I just like, but she was just like this girl that I knew through my mum's work.
Yeah.
She just so happened to have a black dad that didn't like make no, I don't know, it just like she was just some girl that I knew at school, and we was friends and we was friends, but at the same time, do you know what I mean? And that was literally I was like 12 and that was my first experience of like really knowing someone that
was it a big deal? Was it a big deal for you?
No, not for me. She, like I say, she was just some girl that I got friends with at school because our mums worked together.
But that's that
Which
that
is exactly
experience.
how I feel about you. I met you at work.
Yeah.
You could be pink, you could be purple, and
yeah. Do you know what that experience is? It was just a normal. You met a girl. How you just described that is exactly how I've met everybody.
And like I say though, I wasn't brought up where I was brought up. Like my exposure to people of like different race was like our local town still only had like a handful of like Indian families and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like every so often you'd be in town, you'd go to like the local town on a weekend and you'd see the little Indian lady in a beautiful sari going up the street. And it's like, but that was one person that you'd maybe see in the whole of Saturday afternoon shopping.
Yeah. But the thing is,
so I didn't have loads of exposure to it. But then at the same time, now as an adult, I've worked all over in the UK. I've lived in London, I've worked in London, I've worked in a lot more diversity.
There's so
and
much
I can
more.
tell you that everyone's just as poorly behaved as each other. It doesn't matter where you come from, like what colour you are, like what country, it doesn't matter. Everyone's like, it doesn't matter. Everyone's always going to do their own thing.
Yeah, but my point is, when you've explained that, you said it was a normal interaction, and made no big deal out of it, and that's been my experience in my life. That no one has made. I've met people, and no one's made a big deal out of it. I just meet them, and we like normal, and it's not even a big deal. Apart from my family, who made out to me that it was going to be the biggest obstacle that I was ever going to have in my life, and that everybody was going to, like literally, it was like the biggest red flag. That's what I was taught. I was brought up to believe that I was the weakest link, and that I was the biggest red flag, and that I was never going to be accepted, and that you know, that's how my family saw me. And then the American, like when I lived in America, you know, they were the ones that made me feel like I wasn't part of their community, and that I was. So do you see what I mean? Like, isn't that weird? Do you know what I mean? That actually the reality of the world was no one gives a shit. And you know, in our world, in our, you know, the world that me and you both live in, okay, that society that we both know, it wasn't a big deal at all, was it? It's just
I mean, we've got quite a few mutual friends, and I've like never once had a conversation or an acknowledgement with any of them, or even anything that you're not the same colour as us.
yeah, I'm not saying there isn't prejudice. I'm not saying that. Do you know what I mean? Because there's probably some people out there that have got, you know, different stories where they can say they feel that they have been, you know, they have felt more prejudice in certain areas or with certain people. I'm not saying that, you know, and I know, you know, with religion as well, there's a lot of Muslim prejudices, especially since, you know, 9/11. You know, I remember that. I remember what was going on in the world at the time. If you were Muslim, it was a really scary place. So I'm not saying that there's no problems out there in society with racism and stereotypes and all that kind of thing. What I'm trying to say is that, you know, the way I was brought up
and this is why I'm struggling with the internet. This is why I'm struggling with the internet at the minute, because what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing are matching up.
Yeah. No, I get you 100%.
Massively not matching up.
Yeah.
And I've got the type of ADHD that don't let that shit lie.
Yeah, I know. I'm like a dog.
You know what I mean? And like my experience in being married is that if the words and actions don't match up, there's a problem, right? And I feel that this is a very big thing within the race card, the words and actions not matching up.
Yeah.
Because the words, like the words out there in the world is that this don't matter or this don't matter, but then your experience says, oh it does. But
Yeah.
then is would you get the same response as you got from your family if this was happening now? Bearing in mind, we all, like, there is more diversity around us than
Oh
there
no,
was.
this is what I'm saying. But this was a generation thing. No, what I was going to say is, do you know one of the things my nan said to me, my great grandmother once?
God, I hate to think.
No, it was my great grandmother, and she's so sweet and lovely. She said to me, I must have been about, I was young, I was about 8 or 9, and she said to me, she looked at me with such loving eyes, and she was so worried, she was scared for me. And my nan, so to give you some context, my great grandmother, she was very old at this point. She must have been 85, 86, maybe. Probably didn't leave the house very at all. She just got up in the morning and just sat in her chair. I don't know how long she'd been like that. You know, she had ulcerated legs. My great grandpa looked after her. My nan looked after her. So she was kind of housebound, really. So she didn't go out. She didn't know what the world was like or anything. And I have to say that because, in her defense, because the last time she went out, the world was probably a very, very different place. So this is back
I understand. Granny Kath was the same.
Yeah, this is about 91, 89, 89.
Yeah, late 80s.
Late 80s, yeah. So for that reason, you know, we got to give her some slack, my granny. And she turned around and said to me, you know, she called me over and she said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Yeah, of course, Granny." And she said, "Do you ever wish that you were white?" And it was a really weird question for me because it kind of, the underlining message I got from it was that you don't like me this color. Like,
yeah, why are you even asking me that?
Yeah. But then she wasn't asking in a fictitious kind of malicious kind of way at all. She was asking me, you could tell, because she was scared and because she loved me.
Yeah.
And she turned around and she was like, "I'm so worried about you. I'm so worried of what kind of life you're going to have because I wasn't white." And she thought life was going to be really hard for me. Do you know that make so? And
I understand what you're saying, because back then, Alicia, honestly, as much as I hate to say it, it wasn't as common.
It wasn't, and I kind of
people to have babies together. I know it happens, and it happens a lot, but it wasn't as common like it is now.
No,
there's loads of mixed race couples. Look at you and Peter. Do you know? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that brings me just quickly to another point, Peter, because obviously I knew you had a fella called Peter when I met you. I want to know if you ever wondered if I thought, is Peter white or black?
No,
I
no,
didn't.
because it never. It's not a like for everybody else in like everybody, even my family, my black family, they don't know that's not even a thing. Like it's not like not even a thing. Nobody asked that here. Nobody even thinks it. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have found that weird that you did think it. Like you just hear a name and you just want to meet that person, don't you?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, you
I
just
just
go,
wondered
oh
if you
yeah,
ever wondered
introduce
if
me.
I did, because
Yeah, I never have any preconceptions about how
no,
anyone's going to look, and I didn't expect you to either. No, only
no,
that kind of attitude was back in the 80s and the 90s, unless you're in
exactly.
America. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm very
So how
lucky.
have we then? How have small town Alicia and Caroline, like we are country?
Yeah, yeah.
How have we evolved to the point then that for me and you meeting as friends, colour you like say, I could have probably been bright green, Alicia. Do you know what I mean? My colour could have mattered to you. Do you know what I mean? That's you know, do you know what I mean? We're because we're focusing on your colour at the moment. We could reverse the question and say, did my colour matter to you? Because it's the same question.
Look at my experience, but no, because it would never because of my experience. Because my
Exactly like
experience,
minding with you.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But I've had because of my prejudices, it's made me a more thoughtful person to
Yeah.
others. Do you know, and it has, you know, because I'm the one who's sitting in the room feeling left out, feeling unwanted all the time in my own home. So I make an effort with people, regardless of where they are, who they are, what their gender,
Yeah.
and everything. And that's part of that's a good trait. That's part, you know, we get trauma traits. I
Yeah.
also have good traits that came from it as well. I'm more understanding, I'm more empathetic, I'm more, you know, I've got good traits as well. You know, the abuse and the narcissism, it made me strong.
Yeah, all this that's because I know they're nice traits, and I know I'm not saying you're not a nice person naturally, right? But
I
that's
might
all
not have been. I don't
people
know.
pleasing. That's all just people pleasing.
No, I'm just a nicer person. Yeah, you're
I know
right.
you
It
know.
probably is a
I
bit of
know.
people pleasing. It probably is a little bit. Yeah. I'm a people pleaser, and like I said that, and I've said that throughout this podcast. You know, that's what started my people pleasing. But no, that's not people pleasing. That's just recognizing other people that need someone. Other people, I want to be the beacon for others, and I've always been like that.
Yeah, you want to please them. You want to make them happy.
Well, not
You want
necessarily
to do
please
something
them.
for
I want to
them.
help them. Like, for example, I've called in, you know, I've done anonymous calls to Childline when I was younger to help people. I see things that others don't see. I'm more, how do I put it? More observant. That's what this has made me because I had to. I was always the girl sitting there in the
Yeah.
corner waiting and watching people. How are they going to perceive me? How are they
Yeah,
going to...
no, you was also the one though sat there thinking, God, who's going to identify that something's going on? Who's going
No,
to be
yeah,
the one that
exactly.
actually spots it? Who's going to be
Exactly.
the one that like
Who
outs the
helps
fact
me?
that this isn't right? Yeah,
Who helps
exactly.
me?
So that's
Yeah.
why you're out there identifying it
Yeah.
in them.
Because I wanted people to mirror my behavior.
You sat there thinking, who's going to come and save me?
Yeah.
Who's going to spot this? Who's going to say this
Exactly.
is right? Who's going to say this isn't
Yeah.
normal?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why it's like you spot it, you got it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
And
it.
it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And
Exactly.
that's
And
why
this
you
is
do it. Do you know what I mean?
that's
But it's through your trauma.
and that's why I really wanted to circle back down to the wolf guy facts, or the fact guy, because when I found him, that's when I realized, oh my God, like somebody else sees this.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like I'm not just against my race because I felt like I don't like, hate black people. I love black culture. Do you know what I mean? I'm black. I see myself as black, you know. I just felt when I was growing up that they didn't see me that way and I didn't welcome me, you know. I
It's
don't know.
crazy. Honestly, it's
Yeah,
like I really struggle. Like
it's weird.
I do struggle with the fact that it, you know, like let's take America, right? Let's
Yeah,
take America for example. Like even back in the 80s and 90s, obviously there was a lot more black people in America than there was in England already even then.
yeah,
It's like how was the involvement of the population gone? Obviously we know people, you know, populations evolve, etc., but the attitude remains in such a large part that like that was your experience even back then. Now,
still watching it now, and it's
yeah,
this.
we're still watching it now. Black girls talking to white girls talking to black girls. Keep strolling if you're a black girl
Yeah,
unless you're a white girl. Like you
yeah.
can't cook fucking something or what? Like
It's
what?
not everyone in America. It's not everyone. There are pockets, you know, of ratchetness going
Yeah,
around.
I can't cook it because I ain't got your mum's recipe. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing to do with me being white or
Yeah,
you being
exactly.
black.
Exactly. It's
Do- do-
bizarre. So yeah, I think for me, the biggest, I think where I notice you know, I've noticed all my life the people pleasing, but I think that's what stemmed from me having really low self-esteem. And I know sometimes I don't seem like I do because I'm loud, obnoxious, but I do, and confident in some things. But I've always had really shitty self-esteem. There's always that crippling self-doubt in the back of my mind. Am I good enough? Am I doing things right? And I think that's one of the things it stems from in my childhood. You know, not being good enough for them, not being good enough for them, being told I was not going to be good enough for anybody, and then trying to work it out on my own, and then working out, and then I think it was too late before I realised you were wrong. All of you. You were all fucking wrong.
Yeah, they made it up, didn't they, as they went along, and then made it fact for you, made it like one of the biggest deals of your whole life.
Yeah. When it wasn't right. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter how.
Misconception, you got blagged.
Yeah. And it didn't matter how many times people would say, you're so pretty.
Yeah.
It didn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean? And it's like the fact that you probably couldn't believe that properly as a kid's well sad.
No. I couldn't believe it. Do you know what I mean? Because I was always told I wasn't good enough. So low self-esteem. And then it's like everything else, you know, like in relationships, you know, not working out or not getting a job or not, do you know, all of that just goes in, doesn't it? It fills up your cup. And then it's overflowing, and by then you're fucked. Then you're 45 and you're fucked.
And then you're like fighting out, and it's like the thing is as well, it's like I think to be honest, it's a bit more of a man thing than a woman thing, but it does cross over. It's like low self-esteem generates like grandiose ego. Do you know what I mean? It's like you know, the only people that it doesn't generate that in are the people that admit that they've got low self-esteem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people that don't admit it, it's like their ego, you know, everyone who's like, you're like, fucking hell, their ego's out of control. It's like, yeah, because they've got low self-esteem, that's why they've been like that.
And and then it's overcompensating.
You know what I mean? It's like, I can't possibly have low self-esteem because I'm the boss of this and I've got 20 million in the bank and you can't do this better than I can and I'm the best at this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to, you know.
I think for me, it always, like, obviously I've never had a big ego. I hate egos because I feel like most of my life I've been controlled by people with those egos, by having exactly what you just said. They were controlling me because of their low self-esteem, you know, and pushing me into a box because, you know, I don't know. People always used to say when I was younger that one of the reasons my mum treated me the way she did was because she was jealous of me. And I used to get that all the time. I'm like, she's my mum. Why would my mum be jealous of me? I don't know if there's any truth to that, but it just, from what you've just said, you know, it kind of ties in. Maybe that's why she treated me the way she did. But, you know, I know, like
your mum behaves like a bloke as well. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your mum behaves like a bloke.
She does, yeah. She's very masculine and, you know, the way she is and her ideals.
A parenting role is like much more a dad, like abandonment.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like a dad can do a lot of the shady stuff that your mum did to you. Is typically when you hear that behaviour's gone on behind closed doors, it is typically been done by the dad.
Yes, and this is why I can't stand Mother's Day, because I hate everyone's always like, mothers are amazing and walk my shoes. Mothers aren't always amazing. Wow. But that's what low self-esteem, anxiety, you know, I'm not blaming it all on the, you know, the race thing, but what I'm saying is it weren't a great start.
No, and these are all like little blocks out there. They're all the building blocks, and that's created 45-year-old Alicia now. Do you know what I mean? Because it might not have been everything, but if that hadn't have been a part of it, you might feel very different about yourself. Do you know what I mean? And if you went back to dealt with that and still deal with it now to a degree, because you sat here being like, what was even the point of all them conversations?
Exactly.
And I could have just gone out and discovered that for myself in the big wide. Big wide world, do you know what I mean? At least you wouldn't have had a false misconception that everybody was going to be like that with you. That you'd never achieve anything because of the colour of your skin, that no one would ever accept you. Whereas, you know, if you look at your life, it's probably filled with 98% white people.
Yes, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like your partner's white, your friend, the majority.
My babies came out white.
They're white. Do you know what I mean?
my babies came out white. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not a, it's like such a not a big deal.
It's just not a big deal. And you know, does anyone ever say to you, "Wow, your babies are dead white"?
Do you know what?
No.
No, do you know what? Never. And this is another thing I was going to say, because I see on Facebook and TikTok and on Instagram and on these reels that people, they come on and they're like, "Oh, you never guess what colour my baby's going to be." No one cares.
Yeah.
No one fucking cares. All right. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, you might get like some likes on your video and things for social media, but in real life, not.
Yeah, that's just for clout, isn't it? In
No
real
one
life,
cares.
real thing. Not in our world, though. But that's the other thing. In our world, it's not a big deal. In
Yeah.
our world, and this is what you're saying. Some of them big influencers that do that, they're not in our world. They're over in the States in these big old houses
Yeah.
with many
Where
kids,
race is still a
many kids,
problem.
mixed race.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's like part of this brand that they've created
Yes.
from their family.
No one's ever even asked me if that's my child or not. She's calling me mum, so they're like they and they don't.
It's your kid, then, isn't it?
Yeah, and they don't even go, "Oh, right, she didn't look like you. I didn't expect that not to be." They don't
No.
even do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one has ever. The only time I tell you, the only time, and I thought I was going to get it a lot after that, was when you were holding Jessie when she was a baby. When we had, do you remember when we did her first birthday party and we went to
Yeah,
a big place?
yeah, I do.
And you were holding her so I could sort out the cake and the money and everything and get everything sorted. Treetops. It was like one of those kind of places.
Yeah.
And she came over to you because you were holding Jessie.
Oh, yeah.
And she started talking to you. And I was like, "Excuse me, hello. I'm the mother." Do you know what I mean?
I'm not the hired help.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Right, not the gate.
And she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I didn't.
Remember.
Yeah, but I didn't assume it was because I was mixed race or, you know, black.
No, just because I was holding the kid.
Because you were holding the kids. Yeah, that's the first thing. And then it did cross my mind. Maybe, I'm not going to lie, I did think, did she not think it was because because of the colour? And then after that, it never happened again.
No.
Like, it never.
It would, honestly,
Never happened again.
No, and as well, people are much more now like used to like different sort of family setups, parents, biological parents.
I don't think people would always, because they know Pete, my husband, so it was always, the big thing was that my kids looked like my husband. You know, if my husband was there, they'd be joke because they look just like him and don't look like me.
Yeah, more than the joke been about your colour and them looking like you.
Yeah, it was nothing to do with colour. It was the fact, oh my God, they didn't, they
actually do look like him. Do you know what I mean?
Just like him. Like, they've had another. Pete's had another baby.
You can tell he was there.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But did I even try? That's
it's not because of the colour of the skin.
No, but this is not. It doesn't matter. That's the whole point of me saying it doesn't matter. All the damage that was done by these stupid, ignorant people, do you know what I mean? And the fucking world, it ain't got no better. We're here. We are 30 years later. Follow Wolfhat.
I'm going to have a look for now.
He's funny. He's got some great stuff, content on there. And it is finally somebody, do you know what I mean, who sees it, who sees what I've been saying for all these years. I feel validated when I watch him. I'm just like, yes, do you know what I mean? Yes, somebody else. Because I always felt a little bit like I believed that the black community, and if I did ever post anything, they'd label me racist or they'd jump on me. And, so I've never posted anything about my feelings.
But everyone's made it a big deal apart from you.
Yeah.
Do you know? And this is, and you're the one who feels you can't post about this, that, and the other because of what everybody else is going to think, which proves your point.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it completely proves your point because even now, 30 odd years later, you still don't feel.
Well, I'm saying it now. I'm saying it now on the podcast. But you're right. I haven't felt. I feel brave because we're doing the podcast and I've got you here. Do you know what I mean? And probably not many people are going to listen to it, so I can say it out loud. But yeah,
you're allowed to have your own feelings around it though, because it's your shit. This is your shit. You can talk about that and you can say what you think or feel because it's your shit. You're not giving an opinion on someone else's shit.
Yeah,
this is your shit, so you can say whatever you want about it because no one can say you're right or wrong because it happened to you.
Yeah,
this happened to you.
Yeah.
Not, did you hear that fucking Joe Blogg's down the road? Did you hear what happened to him? Well, if that happened to me, blah de blah, it's not that.
No,
It's not that this happened to you, so you can say what the fuck you want, because it's your thoughts, your feelings, and it happened to you.
exactly.
So you can have an opinion.
Thank you. We'll leave that at there. I love it.
This, you know, and it ain't changed. It really hasn't changed. And you know, it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh now because the world is so multicultural. Nobody really cares anymore. And growing up, I'd see other families with mixed race children, and it wasn't a thing. Nothing was. There just wasn't. You know, they were just normal. Everyone was normal. No one. You know, they. And I thought, why is it such a big deal in my life? The colour of my skin. Why has it become such a topic? You know, why has it, you know, made everybody around me lose their shit? Why am I judged just because, one, I'm her daughter, and two, I came out this colour? You know, and I think that's kind of, now that I'm older and I don't have my people pleasers, you know, and I can look back at the whole thing, I just think the fucking world's a shitty, you know, this is on mankind, please. This is on mankind. And it's still going on. People still measure people on the shades of their fucking skin. So, you know, my story isn't really unique in that sense. But this is about, you know, how people, you know, understanding how those prejudices shape people. And how, you know, and how in a world where I already had nothing, you know, I looked out to the people, to a community, and I was shunned by the world. So this is another reason why I've had to be independent, I had to be strong, you know, and I just look for those genuine, good people. People pleasing, it helped me survive, but it cannot be the foundation of who I am. It cannot. So yeah, the biggest part of my mental health journey is really understanding that the rejection was never really about me. It was about other people, you know, and their own prejudices and their own, you know, feelings and judgment and their own, you know, shitty personality. It shines a light on them, not me. And it's taken mature, you know, it's taken me to grow up and mature in that sense, so that but it's taken me a long time to accept that, I think, because I think I don't want to accept that. I want to think that humanity is better. You know, humanity is better than that. But my experience in the world tells me it's not. It really does. You can, you know. So in the next episode of the Daily Dog Walk, we'll be talking about coping mechanisms and how they're different for everybody. And I'll be sharing with you, you know, how I've coped in the last 30 years. Again, there's that laugh. There you go. There's one coping mechanism. Always laughing. Anyways, see you in the next episode of the Daily Dog Walk. Bye.
I just say fuck my life way too much. Your other catchphrases, I'm sorry, but you're not sorry at all.
I'm not sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
It just sounds polite.